Hello and welcome to Welcome Home Radio. The waters in the mortgage industry can be pretty muddy, whether it's investing, leasing, renting, home insurance, or myths and misconceptions. Welcome Home Radio has the answers for you, the consumer. And now, to help you make the right home buying decision for you and your family, here are your hosts.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio. It is August 24th, and I hope everybody's enjoying this kickoff school year and enjoying this weather, even though it has been very hot. Earlier this month, we talked about credit, had some great information to update you with credit. Find us at welcomehomeradio.net. If you didn't catch that show, please go back and watch it. Powerful information. As in today, we're going to have even more for you. Rising cost of insurance. We have seen a rising cost in the insurance industry, whether it be home, auto, life. But here today to talk with us is Kristian Ford with Goosehead, one of our wonderful sponsors, great partner of mine. Kristian, welcome so much. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
We are hearing about inflation and cost and markets and everything else. Tell us what's going on in the insurance industry. Why are people seeing costs go up?
Well, yeah, kind of, just kind of cut down to loss ratios and how that works is when an insurance carrier pays more out of pocket than they are receiving, the only way to make up for those losses are to charge more. And so the biggest part of that was probably that freeze a couple years ago. So I think that was the largest payout in insurance history, and we're still seeing payouts going on due to that. So they haven't really collected and have all the data on the actual loss ratios there. So you're seeing big rate hikes across kind of.
Okay, so let me stop. Snowvid, the cause of Snowvid is the cause of the rising prices now.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot to do with that. The other part of that is, people are getting back on the road. Again, going back into work. And so you see more people on the road, more accidents happening. So more payouts and, with the whole, the shortage, the cost of things going on right now, that's not helping at all either. So it's more expensive to insure. It's also more expensive to fix. So we're just seeing some crazy rate hikes kind of across the space.
Wow. I would have never correlated Snowvid, what is it, 2.5 years later?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And,
yep.
And then now we're asking people to get back in the workforce, get back into the office, get back into their establishments, and that's causing more accidents, therefore.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
It all plays into it. Yeah, and we still haven't seen all the payouts from Snowvid, right? So there's still things being fixed, with that large of a storm and claims across, you can't get to everything immediately. So you're still seeing payouts from some coming in and collecting kind of data still. So.
Well, you would think inflation in general would be affecting it big time. I mean, from fuel to, the cost of manufacturing and every product has gone up from raw material right up to out the door. So it's in part shortages.
Now, Kristian, do these prices only impact here, Texas or Oklahoma, or is this nationwide we're seeing because of Snowvid? Because that storm affected maybe 5 states that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, I guess the rising costs, here in Texas at least, is definitely due to that. I think inflation in general. I don't know. I'm with Progressive personally. I have my gap insurance through them. I didn't pay to do it through my auto loan, so I feel like I'm kind of trapped. But Progressive just had kind of a bottom line. Hey, we're just going to charge everybody $600 more a year, and so it's like that. I've seen that and stuff across North Carolina, South Carolina as well, where I write insurance as well. So I think it's just in general, everybody getting back to work. And
has Texas lost underwriters recently?
Yep. We've had some folks pull out. So you're seeing like Weston is pulling out. Who else? There's a few auto carriers that are pulling out.
Pulling out of Texas?
Out of Texas in general. Yep. So they're just non-renewing all their clients and and we're having to come back. So that's most of my day. Every day I feel like it's just, hey, my policy's renewing up, everything's going up. Okay, find us a new carrier, which is the great part about working with an independent. Like me, it's like I don't have you just with one carrier. If you need to change now, it's like, okay, we'll take a look around and see who's not scared of the risk, and then we'll go from there.
Well, we've had 2 shows ago, we had an interesting conversation. And again, our listeners can find us at welcomehomeradio.net. Ask your questions, see all of our shows there, like us. You can even find Kristian. He is a sponsor for the show. But we had on solar panels, and solar panel conversation came up, and there is a big push in Texas for this, the green energy, I guess. What is the impact to solar panels on a home? And are we able to find insurance for that? I mean, how is that covered? I know there's warranties and everything, but is there insurance? If there is damage, is that covered by insurance?
So basically what we do, and not every carrier will take that. So, got a current client's looking around where he added, we can't add that to the home policy because that carrier doesn't take solar panels on the roof. So we've got to find a new carrier who will, and then you add that to your replacement cost estimator because it's a permanent attachment to the home. So what a replacement cost estimator is, I ask you a bunch of questions about your house, I plug it into a calculator, it tells me, hey, this is how much it costs to remove the debris and build your home back if you had an entire loss, total loss, right? So we take that, we have to add it there, and then it increases the price of your home, like replacement cost. When a claim does happen, it's a little bit funky because it's technically attached, but does a carrier have, they'll have to get I don't know. It's a funky situation because it's not like the carrier can fix it themselves. So then they got to get so then rising claim costs, like we're talking about, you come out there, I don't know, it just adds a whole separate layer to it. And we kind of talked about this last time as well. I don't see that they don't appreciate in value, do they? They depreciate, right?
Thom, is that true? They depreciate in value? I mean, the technology is moving so fast. Are solar panels depreciating or appreciating?
Depreciating. I believe that would be the nice term to say.
The nice term to say. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about that other term that you're thinking, Thom. I mean,
I'm absolutely a supporter of solar energy. It's just on a house by house basis, it creates so many conflicts for insurance agents and for the repair of the technology into the future. And, these are issues that insurance companies have to grapple with when there's a hailstorm that knocks out solar panels, and solar panels are not impervious to 1-inch hailstones. So,
well, now, Kristian, wouldn't the roof get a discount of some sort because the solar panels are protecting the roof?
No, not at all. So, yeah.
I tried.
Wow, you did try.
I mean,
not one bit.
I saw a discount of 50% or something in there. Okay, we see a savings here. But yeah, solar panels.
Yeah, hail can't hit the roof if it's hitting the solar panels.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, Alan.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe it costs less because you don't have to replace that section of the roof. Maybe
but the drilling the hole through the roof for the solar panels.
Yeah. Does it leak? I don't know. How does that work?
Well,
Kristian, I get this asked a lot from people that are new to homes. Is it really cheaper to buy your insurance through onecom? I mean, like they always say you get a discount insurance for your car if you do your car and your house and your boat or whatever you got in life. How does that work? And I guess that's just my question. How does that work? Why wouldn't somebody have Progressive for their car and State Farm for their house or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the market and whole. There's times where I just, I hate State Farm. They're competitive on the auto. I don't have a competitive option, so, because there's accidents, there's tickets, what have you, those kind of things play into your rate, right? So, what I'll say is, go tell State Farm, you're not going to have your renter's insurance with them anymore, right? And see what that does to your auto price, because you do get the bundle discount, right? It always helps to have home and auto together because they look at the risk as a whole, and they say, okay, we're more willing to take on, like Progressive right now. If you want to buy their home insurance, you have to buy their auto insurance. They're not going to let you get anything around that. So they could be the cheapest, and then it gets a little bit cheaper because you have your auto insurance with them. So there's technically a lot of the time there's like a 5 to 15% discount on the home for doing the auto, and then vice versa, you get like a 5 or 10% discount back on the auto.
The other question I hear a lot is insurance one of those businesses where you get what you pay for? Because you got a lot of companies out there, they're new and you haven't heard of them much, but they suppose, A+ rated or whatever and all that stuff. But when it comes to filing a claim, are there companies better than others, or is it just one big happy family, everything's the same?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, it all comes down to your adjuster. If you have a good adjuster, they're back in touch with you all the time, they communicate well, the claim's going to be awesome, right? So that's kind of in general, when you get a A+ carrier like we all write, it comes down to the claim adjuster, I would say, for the most part. But I will say this, we've been so, I don't want to say, I guess, brainwashed into say 15% for 15 minutes or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, you call in and you save your 15%, but what kind of coverage did they give you? A lot of people don't understand that state minimum limits will if I'm in an at-fault accident and I've I don't know, bad at fault for sure. State minimum limits is you have 30,000 per person of bodily injury, 60,000 total for the accident. So if there's more than one person involved, it's 60,000 total, and then 25,000 in property damage to cover their vehicle. How many vehicles on the road in DFW in Austin, where I'm at, across Texas, are worth more than 25,000?
Yeah, I was right next to a Rolls Royce the other day having coffee at the 151.
Right? Yeah. If you're in
and I was on my bicycle, Blair.
if you're in an at-fault accident and someone has to stay in the hospital for more than a day, how far does $30,000 go in that case?
How do you guys establish how everybody has their own house, if you're buying homeowners, obviously? How do you establish dwelling and all that other stuff? And is it different for every company? Or again, do you have does Denton County or Dallas County or Tarrant County have a standard that you go by? How does that work? Because you get mailers from insurance companies that show your payment a lot less than you're paying. And then you go look at the fine print. So how does that work?
Yeah. So you're talking about dwelling coverage or price?
Yeah. Like they say your house is worth $200,000, but you only need $140,000 because of the dwelling or whatever,
Yeah. So basically that's all based off kind of what I was talking about earlier, what a replacement cost estimator, and that adjusts and what that is, you have a home, you've got, builder's grade, semi-custom, custom, designer, luxury, and those are all types of finishes that you can choose. Have I upgraded the cabinets in my kitchen? Do I have granite countertops versus Formica? Do I have laminate? Like, what are my bathrooms like? Those kind of things all come into that. And so some of those will send out a generic, okay, here's $130 a square foot to replace your home, and here's this flyer in the mail. In reality, like right now, we're probably seeing $150 to $200 a square foot based off of cost of wood, cost of labor, like all these things in the market right now we've got shortages on. So like here in Austin, we're looking at $200 to $215, right, a square foot in replacement cost at the time. In Amarillo, I'm looking
all
more
the
like
taxes in Austin, just FYI.
Yeah. And then in Amarillo, I'm looking at, like 145 to 160, so I write in West Texas a bunch. In Dallas, similar, 160 to 185 a square foot, maybe 190, depending on, what type of finishes you have. Just so it's, when you get those generic flyers in the mail, and they say, hey, here's this and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they don't have any of your water coverage on it. They don't have, half the time the coverage you need. Sometimes it's like a 2% deductible on those things where
They
it's
just want to
confined
get you to
1%.
call, don't they? They just want
Exactly.
to get you to
It's just
call
trying to
and
get you
a
to.
Yeah, but
quote.
it's confusing, I think, too, because how do you know when you are insured properly? Seriously. I mean, you have an insurance agent just like you do anybody else, and they, I would think, look at your neighborhood or whatever. And how do you know?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm maybe someone, if it's someone you trust. I guess that's a hard question to answer, I would
Well,
say.
I'm going to try to help you answer it here, Kristian. I
Yeah.
think if you can sleep at night, then you're comfortable.
Yeah.
But you don't know until it actually happens, the accident happens, then of course you realize you weren't covered enough. Like if your home was taken down through hurricane or tornado or a fire or something, was your home completely covered for everything that you've lost due to that fire? You're going to find out. And it's just like the liability, you have to answer that for yourself, in my opinion. And I'm really intrigued by more home damage claims that have happened. Well, you said it, Snowvid caused that. More car accident claims. I remember driving during COVID, and I loved it because nobody was on the road. That was awesome. Now, yes, people are coming back. I can see that. But I think the biggest one I think people need to understand is higher repair and replacement costs are extremely, and you know what? This is one of those things that doesn't come down. It goes up and it will never come down. I mean, it takes you guys a long time to realize, hey, the replacement cost of my home is not $170. It's really $140. But again, you take in zip codes and you take in a lot of data along with credit scores. Is that right?
Yep. That can have a big effect.
It can have a huge impact. And I mean, I understand the credit pull, but do you get authorization from each client? Do they know that you're pulling credit when you do, or are you doing a soft pull?
Yeah, so it's a soft pull. It's like a Credit Karma type look at what your credit is, So your insurance score takes into that into account. And everybody I talk to, I ask for a social up front, and I tell them this is not going to affect your credit whatsoever. This is going to, be verifying this insurance score, which does take a little look at credit, but it's not a hard pull whatsoever. So I do let everybody know that.
I hope it's not Credit Karma you look at.
Oh no, absolutely.
Okay.
No, I don't know what that is. I'm not in charge of what they look at. I just do know that, that's what it,
it's probably
most people don't know that.
Huh?
I think most people don't know unless they're told that their credit gets looked at.
I think there's two areas that people do, or three. Insurance, they don't understand it. They don't know that people are pulling credit on them. Two, student loans. I don't think they understand that credit is being pulled. And three, employers. Whether it's your employer you're looking at for a new job or whether it's the existing employer, you have given them the right to pull your credit information, and they do it every now and then when they're looking to possibly a promotion, or they're going to deal with money or finances or accounting for some reason. I mean, these are three areas that I don't think a lot of people look at correctly and understand that it can impact their ability to move forward. But insurance is definitely one of them that, hey, you can have the same coverage, the same people, same agent, same everything, but your credit score is different. It will impact the amount of money you're paying.
Absolutely. And it'll not only that, it'll impact, and this hopefully doesn't, upset anybody, but it'll impact your first month's down payment. Sometimes you got carriers that go, they want 2 or 3 months down on your auto insurance or whatever. And it's like, well, that's because, that's pulling in that, what you're looking at, with your credit and payment histories and those kind of things. So they know that, carriers know that going in. Exactly. So
I didn't know it increased the down payment. That's impressive. Y'all are more like the mortgage industry than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy what it'll do. And, your insurance score is based off a lot of things, it's, where your claims history, that kind of stuff, but also, your limits on your auto insurance. We were just talking about, state minimum limits at 30, 60, 25 versus, being covered up to 100, 300, 100, so the longer you're at a higher level, the better it is for your insurance score, the more responsible new carrier will think you are, because you have higher limits.
Let's let people know how smart you are, because you educated me something almost 8 years ago about something I never knew existed, and that's called the clue report. Can you educate our listeners on what a clue report is, how they might be able to get one, that sort of thing? I mean, I think you're going to educate Alan and Tom here too, so help them understand what a clue report is.
Yeah, so Clue Report takes a look at the last 7 years of insurance history on the home. If there's a claim, has it been, how much it paid out. It looks at your claim history as well. So when I'm looking at someone buying a new home and I'm running Clue Reports, it'll pull in both. So the risk is the home that you're buying. The subject is the person buying the home. So I'll get all these, boom, 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 come back in. And it's like, water claim, hail claim, this and that. And it tells me how much has been paid out and what day it was. So it's, it kind of arms you with, when I go in and it says there's a $20,000 hail claim, hey, what was this hail claim? Was the roof actually replaced, or does it look pretty beat up? Did someone just take the money and run with it? Those type of things is kind of what a Clue Report's there to tell you about the house and kind of arm you with some of those questions, if you will, if you're going in after inspection.
Alan, I got to tell you, it's a great tool to see if the seller, the listing agent, is showing everything that has happened to the home or in the declarations. I mean,
yeah, well, seller disclosures are one thing, but getting a house under contract, then you definitely got to get your client to call their insurance people and get a Clue report on the house. And you can't make anybody do anything, but you can certainly give them advice.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I was amazed at one home that we discovered. We had $80,000 of fire damage in the kitchen and $100,000 roof repair because it was what is that, Pueblo tile type stuff that was on there.
Something.
And none of that was disclosed. And it becomes interesting conversation once those things are found out. So I think it's very important. Not only, rising of insurance, but insurance can be your best friend if you talk to them and ask them questions about what you're doing, whether it's a home looking at and the validity, as well as he can, a lot of times Kristian gets me a flood cert way before my own company looks at doing it, just because of the 2012 expansion of the flood zone here in Texas. It's very valuable to see if a home is in the flood zone, even though they've been grandfathered in. They're not, the owner doesn't know if they're in a flood zone, but we need to find that out. Mm-hmm. What else, Kristian? What else is happening in the industry this year that we need to let our listeners know?
Talking about the rising costs and something to keep in mind every time you think about using insurance and keeping your own insurance costs low, when you're looking at making a claim, I would, only use insurance for the big stuff. Of course, it's there for you if you need it. And you want to have insurance that you're paying for that'll actually, do something when you need to use it. But, say you've got you want to go thinking about making a water claim on a house, right? And water claims is one of those that catches every insurance carrier's eye. Anytime you shop around, if you have more than one or two in the last 3 years, they're out, right? So they don't want to cover you, or they'll cover you, but they'll charge you to do it, right? So, if you're thinking about making a water claim and you've got a 1% deductible on a $200,000 home, so 1% of 200,000, $2,000, right? So it's going to cost me $2,500 to fix this water claim. Should you or should you not use insurance, right? And most people are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to save $500. Realistically, you're probably going to pay much more out of pocket over the next 6 or 7 years, right? Because you made one water claim. So if you can afford to do something like, 25, you have like I said, just that example again. So $2,000 deductible is $2,500. If you can afford to come out of pocket that other $500, I would absolutely do that. Even if it's up to $1,000 or $1,500 extra over that, if you can, and not everybody can, right? But please, use it for the big stuff, and then try to use it, not to use it for the little things. So.
Yes, Tom.
My question was.
Oh, sorry.
My question was, does the insurance industry follow the fact that we have an adjuster come out and look at something and then we decide to pay for it ourselves? does that then also go against us as far as our situation?
Yes. So it's a $0 claim.
We got to make this decision before we involve insurance, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would always recommend you're going to need to do your due diligence to stop the damage anyway, right? So get a plumber out, get somebody out to take a look at it, get the damage to stop, continue giving or causing more damage. Because if you don't, then a carrier is going to be like, okay, you're negligent here anyway. But so you get someone out, you get them to stop the damage from happening, get them to take a look at it, and they say it's going to cost this much to do this. And then you say, all right, let's get the adjuster out here. Is this something we're comfortable fixing? Yes. Okay. Let's take care of it. No. Okay. Let's get the adjuster out.
I know in Texas, foundations are such a big deal, and a lot of the homes back in the day, the pipes break inside the slabs, and that's a nightmare for homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, I had a friend said they actually bought insurance just for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't know that's available. Do you know anything about that?
Absolutely. So there's 4 water coverages in Texas. Foundation water damage being a big one of those. And it's, your average foundation claim is about 12 to 15,000. At least that was, I guess that's the numbers like 3 years ago. So I have no idea. I guess I need to take another look at that. But it's foundation damage is one of those I always try to put on there as long as it makes sense, for the client. If you have a crawl space underneath your home, you don't necessarily need foundation water damage, right? Because you can go underneath the house and you don't got to.
So that doesn't address the foundation. It addresses the pipes in the foundation that break and disrupt flow.
Yep. Now, so foundation coverage will cover any covered water claim causing damage to the foundation. If they've got to bust up your floor to get underneath the home, that'll also cover that hole in the living room. It just does not cover natural settling or shifting of the foundation itself.
Well, I've seen some really bad stuff over the years, and
yeah,
that's $20,000 a lot.
They're not cheap. So so that's one of those things, when you talk about, am I saving 15% for 15 minutes or whatever the heck it is, Geico, not to badmouth Geico, right? They've got great auto prices, but man, they just don't know what they're doing on home insurance, right? They're not trained to do that kind of thing. So any Geico policy I see has got like a $5,000 deductible, 2% wind hail deductible, no water coverages, nothing like that, right? Which, maybe you find a representative that can provide you with all that and does that. So maybe that's,
so that water coverage goes out through the front yard to the street too, for like tree roots and that.
Yeah. It depends there. So you've got sudden and accidental water, which will cover, just like Snowvid, you had all these pipes freezing, turn the water back on, boom, pipes burst. That's sudden and accidental. So any water claim that's gone on for less than 14 days that happens suddenly or accidentally, you've got water backup. So that's sewage coming back through the pipes. Like say, tree root grows through your pipe in the yard, and boom, sewage comes back out of the house. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that. It's terrible.
Yeah, across the street just dealt with it twice in 6 months.
Yeah, there's another thing called buried utility lines that you can throw on there. This isn't technically a water coverage, but it's can be very helpful. So any of your utility lines that run from your home on your property to the main city lines, that will help. They dig it up, replace that kind of thing. So like your sewage line, sometimes it's the city's fault and they take care of it. Other times it's not, and you have to take care of that pipe yourself. So buried utility lines can be a really good one to have on there for those types of situations. You've got the foundation coverage, what we just talked about. And then there is seepage coverage. So continual and repeated seepage. Not every carrier offers this. It's one of those though that if it's the opposite of sudden and accidental. So it's gone on for longer than 14 days, but you cannot see it on a daily basis.
So is that just kind of like a rider insurance that goes on top of what you regularly have?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have your base, coverage A through F, which is like your dwelling coverage all the way through your liability, right? And that's like you got other structures, contents, loss of use, liability, all that. And then you've got the stuff after that, which is some of those riders we're talking about.
Cool.
So yeah, the seepage coverage, that's a pretty good one to have on there as well. If you find a carrier that offers it.
Yep.
Well, I want to remind our listeners, again, welcomehomeradio.net is where you can go. We're also on 13 different Spotify podcasts, so forth. I'm sure we'll list them down, but you can find us there. If you have more questions about insurance, please reach out to us. We'll get Kristian on the phone with you personally. There's his number. So, Kristian, I want to thank you. Any final closing statements? I mean, one of the things I see with this triple-digit heat wave that we've been going through and will continue for, hopefully it'll stop in September, but I'm expecting a lot of foundation issues. Would you agree with that? If people haven't been watering and taken care of, there's possibly a lot of claims coming down the pike for foundational problems. Is that something you're expecting?
Potential. I would say the thing with that is that's going to be, natural settling or shifting, right? So that's just natural wear and tear, which is an exclusion on insurance. So if it's a covered water claim causing damage to the foundation, then that's where we'll get those claims. But if it's just like, it's kind of the nature of the beast in Texas, unfortunately, we have the shifting soil. So if you have a warranty on your foundation, that may be something you have to look into there as well.
How about roof melting?
Roof melting, yeah. Does that happen? I have never actually seen that. So if it's happening, man, that's
well, Tom suns himself on the roof, so he includes himself.
Best place to do it.
Well, thank you again, Kristian, for joining us. I hope things are well down in Austin, and thank you, everyone. God bless. I'm Blair Thomas.
And I'm Thom Hulme with Champion School of Real Estate. Why not?
And I'm Alan Pace. If you want to buy or sell, give me a call. Thank you.
God bless everyone. Take care.
Thanks, guys.